It is 7:03 and time for the Castle Hill Zoning Commission to come to order. Call the meeting to order and the roll call. Mr. Solis. Mr. Bueller is here. Mr. Jackson is here. Mr. Herman. No, he's not here. At the moment, we do not appear to have a quorum.
Quorum is 3, Mr.
Yeah,
McCormick.
and we have Kristen on the line. Kristen. Benega.
Got who?
Kristen?
Oh, Kristen. Bengashia. Did I get that close, Kristen?
That was really good. Yes, Bengachia.
Let's see. I don't know how to turn on the sound here. Mr. Rapley?
Yeah, I'm trying to adjust this. This might be on her end.
I got no sound, Mr. Rapley, for Miss Bengachia. Is my pronunciation close? Just nod, because I can't hear you.
It is. Can you hear me now?
It might
Can
be
you
on
hear me
her
better
side.
now?
Um,
I don't see anything that indicates I'm turned off. I just don't have control of anything. Okay, we do have a quorum. My name's Clyde McCormick, and I guess I'm going to be running the meeting this evening. Mr. Solis is on vacation. He may be along with us in a few minutes by telephone. Do we have any comments from the public? People who want to talk about anything that's not on the agenda?
No, sir, we do not have anyone signed up. this
I'm
evening.
sorry,
No, sir, we do not have anyone signed up to address the commission. at
I
this
can't
time.
hear you, ma'am. Pull your mic down where you can get your,
No, sir, we do not have anyone who signed up to address the commission at this time.
I'm sorry, still couldn't make that out. You need to lean into the microphone a little bit.
Sir, we do not have anybody signed up to address the commission.
Okay. I'll have to let that go. Okay, we're up to the consent agenda. We're looking at the approval of the last meeting minutes for, let's see, this would have been November 2nd, 2021. I have a move, there's another person. Hi.
I'm here.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Moved by Mr. Herman.
Jackson. Jackson.
You second?
No, I made the motion.
You made the motion. Okay, then I need a second. Anybody?
Is my mic on? There you go. I didn't hear the motion. Can you repeat that real quick?
You move to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Jackson and a second by Mr. Herman. All in favor, raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3, unanimous. Thank you very kindly. Then we're moving on to new business. In the packet that you received, there were 2 sets of papers for item, I guess it is 4.1 and 4.2. And the papers that were attached are identical. There's a separate set of papers and a third bundle attached to the document that is for item 4.3 and 4.4. So we are we're having a public hearing on an application for a request for special use permit from Veronica Valdez at 2104 Northwest Military Highway, Castle Hills, Texas, 78213, more particularly described as CB 5778, Block 9, Lot 15 and 16, to perform permanent makeup services.
Mr. McCormick, will you announce the time that the public hearing is opening?
It is 7:07
Okay.
PM.
And you want to ask if anyone present wishes to speak during the public hearing?
Yes. Anyone here to speak on that item? come up to the microphone, please, and I'll encourage you, please pull the mic over and speak right into it. Otherwise, people on the phone won't be able to hear you, and I probably won't be able to hear you either.
Okay. My name is Veronica Valdez.
Okay, hi.
Hi, how are you?
What do you have to tell us this evening?
Well, regarding the item that you just,
With regard to that first item,
yes, to 2104 Northwest Military Highway.
yes?
It is a request to continue, well, for special use, to continue what we've been doing is permanent makeup.
Pull it over a little closer, please. I can't make.
It is a request to continue permanent makeup. It's something that the salon has offered for over 20 years, and it's something that I'd like to request to continue doing.
Okay, is this a new location or an additional location?
It is no, it's a location that's been there
Original
for
location.
a long time. Yes, sir.
And you've been doing this service there for the past 20 years on a previous SUP.
That's correct. Previous location was 2191. We were doing it there, but then we moved into 2104 in 2017, and we've been doing it ever since there as well.
Okay, and what services are you doing?
As far as permanent makeup is concerned, or as far as anything in the building? What was the question?
What services are subject to the special use permit?
Permanent makeup. So it would be tattooing of eyebrows, eyeliner, and lipstick. It's not tattooing in the form of body art, but it's permanent cosmetics is what it's called.
And it's very similar to a tattoo, is that correct?
It's the same process as a tattoo. However, it's only limited to eyeliner, lipstick, eyebrows, and whatnot. It's not art per se.
Okay. What else do you think we need to know?
Just that it's been being performed for a while, and I'd like to continue on the same route in doing so.
Okay. Is there any other comments you'd like to make?
I think, no, just, I mean, the history of it has been there. We had permission previously, but now it's a matter of having this moment with you guys.
Okay. Is there anybody with you who needs to speak on this subject?
No.
Anybody else here who needs to talk on this subject? Anybody who has any information that might be pertinent to the question? I guess that's it. Thank you very kindly.
Thank you.
You can sit down if you like.
I have a second location. Are we addressing that now?
No, that's a second item.
Okay.
on the agenda.
All right, thank you.
We'll get back to that, then we'll come past you one more time for the same information. Okay, I guess we're up to discussion. Any comments?
State the
Mr. Schnall, do you have anything for us?
Just to announce the closing of the public hearing, Mr. McCormick, the time.
Okay, then I'll close the public hearing at 7:09
Okay, and you
and
can,
we'll go to discussion.
okay, and you're in item 4.2 then.
We're on item 4.2, discussion and possible action on resolution number 220705 on an application request for special use permit from Veronica Valdez, 2104 Northwest Military Highway, Castle Hills, Texas, 78213, more particularly described as CB 5778, Block 9, Lot 15 and 16, to perform permanent makeup services. This is something that has been in that location since 2017. We previously approved a similar request for SUP for this same location.
Correct, Commissioner, that there's been at least 2 to 3 cases where SUPs were granted for the same.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
There's been 2 or 3 SUPs already granted in the last 2 years, I believe, that are already doing the same practices that have gotten the SUPs approved by zoning and city council. So there's
Right.
precedence that's been set.
Any comments? Mr.
Mr.
Jackson,
Chairman, I move that we approve the SUP.
we have a motion to approve from Mr. Jackson, the second,
I'll second it.
and Mr. Herman seconds the motion. We'll vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. We're now ready to move on to 4.3, a public hearing on application request for special use permit from Veronica Valdez at 2211 Northwest Military Highway, Suite 110, Castle Hills, Texas 78213, more particularly described as City Block 5778, Lot 22, CHCB 219, to perform permanent makeup services. We'll open the public hearing at 7:13 PM, and we're ready for comments on the public hearing items. Ms. Valdez, do you want to come back up and tell us what's going on here?
Okay, this is another location that has been actively performing permanent makeup, tattooing for a while. 2211 has been a salon for over 25 years. I know because my mom worked there before we took over ownership, and I had my 21st birthday party there. That being said, even back then, they did permanent makeup in the location, and I'd like to request that we continue being able
And
to
2211
do permanent
was
makeup.
Owned by someone else at the time, is that right?
Well, previously, yes, ownership became mine in December of 2021.
Okay, so this application sounds like it's timely, and it's an item for the similar work that's been done in that location for 20 years plus. Anything else you need to tell us about it?
And about that, no. Just that I'd like to continue doing what we've been doing and request that you guys give me that opportunity.
Okay. I guess that's all, then. You can sit down if you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready. I just have one more thing to say.
Okay,
Semi-relevant. Okay, I just want to say that the initial part of this process is somewhat intimidating to somebody who doesn't do it every day, but I'm very thankful that you guys have a gentleman named Louis working with you guys. He really made it less complicated. He was available and pleasant for my 20,000 questions when submitting the paperwork you guys are looking at right now.
thank you.
And that's all.
Well, and you can take your seat if you like.
Thank
And,
you.
Is anyone else here to speak on this subject? Does anyone have any pertinent information that might be helpful? Now I'll close the public hearing at 7:16 PM. And it looks like we're ready for discussion. Any discussion? Gentlemen, no? Ms. Bengachia, do you have anything? No?
I move that we approve the for this location.
I'm sorry, tell me again, Mr.
I
Jackson.
can make a motion that we approve the SUP for this location.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion to approve the SUP for this location.
I'll second that
Mr.
motion.
Herman seconds the motion. I'll ask for a show of hands. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you very kindly. We're ready to move on to item 4.5.
Mr. McCormick, if I just may, for the record, let the applicant know that this will be on the agenda for the city council's consideration 1 week from tonight at 6:30 PM. The actions taken tonight by the zoning commission were recommendations to grant the SUP that go to the city council for final action 1 week from tonight.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're ready for item 4.5. This is a discussion and possible action to review the city ordinance related to the regulation of massage parlors and similar businesses, and to provide recommended changes, if any, to council for consideration. I note that in the packet, there's no summary, no problem that has been stated that we should address, no complaint that has been brought forward to as council member or other person about any massage parlor or similar sort of business. So I think we go right to discussion here, if there is some to be had. Mr. Schnall?
Mr. McCormick, it may help the zoning commission for me to provide some background on this item. I woke up this morning, and when I got my newspaper, this item was the lead story on the front page above the fold of this morning's San Antonio Express News. And it was also prominently placed on their website for those people who read the newspaper online. For those people who don't read the newspaper, this is an agenda item that came at the request of the city council on a motion by Mr. Isbrand, who had received citizen complaints or concerns about the proliferation of massage businesses in our small city. Mr. Isbrand reported to the council that he had done a count, and there were 6 or 7 or 8 of these businesses that he could identify. The most recent one being located on Northwest Military Highway at about 1900 or 2000 Northwest Military Highway, next to the relatively new Southern Liquor and Wine Store, a location that used to be a maid service and is now a massage parlor or a massage business that received, I believe it received its certificate of occupancy last week. And Mr. Isbrand wanted the zoning commission to review the ordinances related to massage businesses and to see if there were any recommendations that the zoning commission wished to make to the city council. His motion to that effect was seconded and adopted at the June meeting of the city council. So that's why this is on the
Okay, well, has
commission's
there been a
agenda.
Specific complaint raised regarding a massage business in Castle Hills.
The owner of the small shopping center across the street from this latest massage business did send an email to the city that the city secretary read at the council meeting, expressing his concern that these businesses can tend to have a negative impact on a community, perhaps lower property values. And he made a point to say in his email that he's been asked to rent to a business like this and has declined to do so because he didn't want the potential negative impact on the rest of his property. Mr. Isbrand is not here to speak about what concerns he heard, but I'm sure that if the commission wanted to hear from him, he would be glad to come to the August commission meeting to provide background on exactly what he has heard. In preparation for tonight's meeting, I did take a look as city attorney at our ordinances, and we have a ordinance that's strong against or involving a business that is a massage parlor as
Say that again,
defined
Mr.
in our
Chair.
ordinance. Unfortunately, our definition of massage parlor is a very specific definition that most of the existing massage establishments do not fit, or I certainly take the position that they do not fit. Our ordinance of a massage parlor and the fact that a massage parlor is, as defined in our ordinance, is a sexually oriented business are identical to those of the ordinances of the city of San Antonio. However, 3 years ago, the city of San Antonio adopted a different ordinance for a massage establishment that does not have as restrictive a definition of a massage business, and which may provide guidance to the zoning commission as it looks at this issue. The main things that are in that ordinance for a massage establishment that are not in the city of Castle Hills ordinance are things like a sign is required inside the entry of the massage establishment business, which consists of its certificate of occupancy, as well as the Texas Department of Licensing license for each of the masseuses or masseurs, and they are to be displayed at the entrance to the space. The city of San Antonio ordinance limits the hours of operation of one of these businesses to be from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. San Antonio ordinance specifically prohibits any residential use at this kind of a location or facility, and includes now health and safety regulations and sanitation inspection provisions. And under certain circumstances, will require this kind of a business to have a city permit in addition to a certificate of occupancy. I'm not suggesting that all of those would be appropriate for Castle Hills, but I wanted to give you all some background on where this is coming from. And one of the things that Mr. Isbrand pointed out to the council was that the new massage businesses in Castle Hills appear to have come in shortly after the city of San Antonio adopted its stricter ordinance, leading him to conclude that they were coming to Castle Hills because of its location and because it didn't have the same kind of rules that San Antonio had adopted. So I hope some of this background is useful. Some of the cures or approaches that could be taken would include adopting a definition of a massage establishment that would not be as limiting as our current definition of a massage parlor. I wouldn't take the massage parlor definition out, but I would add a definition of a massage establishment. And then the commission could recommend what kinds of requirements it would want for a massage establishment. Among other things, I think you could require as a massage establishment to have some of those things I just mentioned that the San Antonio ordinance covers, displaying of permits, having health and safety standards, having sanitation inspections, things of that nature, and could even include requiring a massage establishment to come before the commission with a request for a special use permit, like Ms. Valdez did a few minutes ago for her permanent makeup. And it seems to me that that a business like a massage establishment, it might be a good idea for it to get a little extra scrutiny, and as you do when you consider other special use permits. And I'll be glad to, respond to any questions. And if the commission has any, you're also, of course, welcome to discuss this amongst yourself. Mr. Solis, when he informed Mr. Rapley and me that he would not be at this meeting, respectfully asked that no final recommendation be provided until he had an opportunity to be at the next meeting so that he could provide his input to the commission.
Well, I think it's crucial that we have an idea what the complaints are before we seek to go about regulating it. The other issue that comes up in this kind of context is that we can't really enact a post hoc facto law that makes something that somebody's doing now illegal.
The existing massage establishments, which have certificates of occupancy, would be essentially grandfathered. Whether or not the new requirements would not apply is something I haven't looked at yet. For example, if the commission were to recommend and the council were to adopt an amendment to the zoning ordinance that did require certain health and safety or sanitation standards, those might be applicable even to an existing business, but the use itself would be grandfathered.
I agree with that. The issue is that we have a state law that prescribes a license and licensing procedure for people providing massage services. And I think massage services is a pretty broad term. I think we could use a term like that. But I think, Mr. Rapley, are you still here? Ms. Mingachia has been trying to get a question in here for a while, and I can't hear anything she's saying.
Yeah, and I think we're having some problems on the input side when she speaks or audio.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, you want to try to let me read your lips?
I'll text her right now. She may just have to do a call in so
Okay,
we can hear her.
Ms. Mingachia, Mr. Rapley is going to text you,
Okay,
and you can respond to the text if you would, please.
okay.
And we'll defer any action until you have a chance at least to ask your question.
Thank you.
Oh,
Had a question on the hours of operation. Is there any hours of operation standard in the current?
No, sir, there are none. And although Mr. McCormick is right, there is a state statute in the occupations code about the licensure of persons who do massage therapy. I did look today at ordinances, not only of the city of San Antonio, but also the city of Dallas and the city of Houston. And those two other large cities in the state, like the city of San Antonio, do have more restrictive provisions about massage businesses of this kind. The hours of operation, for example, I think is in both the Dallas and Houston ordinance. The health and safety standards, although they're not identical, both the Dallas and Houston ordinances, like San Antonio's, do have certain rules about health and safety, like changing linens and not reusing towels and being subject to safety inspections. The San Antonio ordinance has language in it that says that the business must at all times be in compliance with the property maintenance code, the building code, and the fire code as adopted by the city of San Antonio. I think those are somewhat superfluous because all businesses should be in compliance with those ordinances as well. But it's to make a point for these kinds of businesses that they're being looked at more carefully by communities. And although I'm not aware of what the specific complaints are, and it's a good question that Mr. McCormick raised, there is some legislative history and some testimony in a court case from Dallas, where the city officials justified the restrictions that the Dallas ordinance has based upon experience with massage businesses which were doing activities other than just therapeutic massage. And the Court of Appeals was persuaded that the ordinance did have a important purpose, public purpose, in order to get rid of those concerns or address those concerns. Do we have the other commissioner? Because I mean, at this point,
No, I asked her to call in via the Zoom and see if that works. If not, what we could probably do is have her send any points of interest she may have to Ms. Tedford to send out to the zoning commission.
that would be fine after the meeting. But because she has not been able to be seen and heard during this meeting, she is officially not in attendance. And I regret saying that, but the government code and the Open Meetings Act is very clear that a person attending a meeting remotely as a member of the commissioner or the committee or the council for that matter has to be seen and heard at all times, or else they're not considered to be present. Since we do have a quorum in the room, the meeting can continue. But
Let me check, Mr. Schnall.
Mr. Epley, do you have her phone number? Can you give her a phone call and put her
I'm-
on speaker?
Can you hear me
I
now?
think she's on the line right now. Kristen, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah.
I
it's-
did hear
it's-
the
it's
end
an
about
input
how-
issue, so we're gonna have to figure that
Yeah.
out. So
Okay.
I think
I'm
the
here.
best thing to do
Okay.
is for her to send.
The situation is that we no longer have a quorum.
no, you have a quorum,
We have
Mr.
quorum.
McCormick.
We do
You
have a quorum.
But,
Yeah.
but the member of the commission who cannot be heard
Mhm.
cannot be considered officially in attendance because of the
Can
government. code.
am I still allowed then
We
to
can't
ask
hear.
questions?
and we
Since I'm
haven't
not
been able to get any
officially,
verbal communication going.
may I still
Um,
ask questions even though
Well,
I'm
I
not
guess
officially?
we're at the point where Mr. Schnall has run out of wisdom for us and we need to decide how we're going to go to proceed on discussion. Any comments, thoughts, ideas?
Can you guys hear me?
Let me suggest, I don't think we've got enough information in order to carry out really an intelligent discussion.
I was gonna say, if we had
I'm
a
gonna
list of the
suggest,
complaints or something, it'd be something more to
Subject
go
to a
on.
motion
Can you guys
to
hear
do
me?
something like this, that we table this for the moment and appoint a committee of two to look into it. And then I need one volunteer or two volunteers who are willing to do that. If nobody will volunteer, I'll volunteer, but I'm not gonna do it by myself.
I'll volunteer.
Anybody else?
Um,
Okay. Todd volunteered, I'll volunteer myself, so that's two of us. That's the most we can have on a separate committee.
Correct.
So we
Well, have
will,
have we
I
made a
suggest that
motion
we
to
might,
Table this
uh,
for the time being.
somebody else talking?
Yes. Have
I'm
we
sorry.
made a motion to
hear me?
table this for the time being until we get more information?
Okay, and appoint a committee to look into it and bring us back some information.
So we'll table it for the time being until we get some more information at our next meeting.
Okay, I guess we need a second.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. That's approved unanimously. So we're going to table it for the time being. We've appointed a committee of two people, myself and Todd Herman, who will look into it. I will undertake to contact Mr. Isbrand and to see what comments he may have that would be helpful. And we'll bring back some, whatever comments we can get and look into the possibility of regulating to some reasonable extent so that we don't step on everybody's rights and we still provide a proper restriction for the quality of life in our city. Any other comments or discussion? Okay. Does anybody have any comments or announcements they want to make for the public generally? Then we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. I need a motion. Okay, second,
Second.
Mr. Herman, second, Mr. Jackson made the motion. All in favor? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.